In this video, we are going to talk about a few different types of angles. We're going to start with comparing supplementary and complementary angles. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to be 180 degrees, whereas complementary angles add up to be 90 degrees. You also need to know that the word congruent means that the angles are equal to each other. You can see the symbol here for congruence. The last vocabulary term that we're going to talk about is adjacent angles. And adjacent angles are angles that share a vertex and they touch each other. So in this diagram, you can see that they share this vertex point right here. Both angle 1 and angle 2 share this vertex point, and they're adjacent to each other because they're connected or they touch along this line right here. We're also going to take a look at the triangle angle sum theorem. The triangle angle sum theorem says that all three angles in a triangle add up to be 180 degrees. So if I was going to try to set up an equation to help me solve for x using this diagram, I would take all three angles and add them together, 4x plus 5x plus 12 plus 2x minus 8, and I would put that equal to 180. Next, I would combine like terms. So I would get 11x plus 4 equals 180. And then if I solve for x, I'd get 16. Let's look at a couple of different diagrams and see if we can distinguish the difference between vertical angles and straight angles. Vertical angles look like this, where you have two intersecting lines that share a vertex. Vertical and vertex, they sound kind of similar to each other. Vertical angles share this vertex, but they are not adjacent to each other. They are on opposite sides of that vertex. In this example, 9x plus 2 is on the left, and 5x plus 12 is on the right. They're on opposite sides. Vertical angles are a little bit different than straight angles in that straight angles are going to be adjacent to each other. So again, they're going to share a vertex and they're going to share a side here. They also are going to form a straight line, and you can see that there's this straight line right here. We can call them a straight angle or a linear pair, means the same thing. So vertical angles are not adjacent. Straight angles, linear pairs are adjacent. Vertical angles are congruent to each other. So if I wanted to set up an equation for the diagram on the left, I would do 9x plus 2 equals 5x plus 12. If I solve that, I get 2.5. Straight angles or linear pairs, on the other hand, add up to be 180 degrees. They are an example of supplementary angles. So to set up an equation for this, I would do 9x plus 2 plus 5x plus 12 equals 180. It's probably best to combine like terms to make it 14x plus 14 equals 180. And then from there, you can solve for x and get 11.86. Next, we're going to look at an example of complementary angles. Now, keep in mind that complementary angles add up to be 90 degrees. I can tell in this picture that these two angles add up to be 90 degrees because of this symbol right here. This box means that we've got two lines that form a 90-degree angle. They're perpendicular to each other. So to set up an equation for this, I would do 9x plus 2 plus 5x plus 12 equals 90. Combine like terms again, so 14x plus 14 equals 90. And then if I solve that, I get 5.43. You can see that there's several different types of angles. Again, there's supplementary that adds to 180, complementary add to 90, and then congruent angles are equal to each other.